Welcome everybody. Pause the video and read the question carefully. As we can see, this question is asking me to identify the identity of a metal. Since you're given the mass of this metal, then we're going to calculate the moles of this metal and then find the relative atomic mass, which is the AR. But how can I calculate the moles of metals? We can see that this metallic element reacts completely with the 3 cubic centimeter of oxygen at room temperature, in which we can remember the relationship of the molar volume, in which we have, if you have 1 mole of any gas at room condition, then the volume of this gas is 24 cubic decimeter. So our target here is to determine the moles of metal and then using a ratio in order to determine the AR. But if you look at the calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium, you can notice that these elements are in a group 2 and group 1, which means that I have to describe my chemical reaction in terms of equation. So we have 2 possibilities to write the oxidation between oxygen and metal. If it's in a group number 1, then I have to write this equation, which is metal plus O2 gives M2O. And then we have to balance these equations by multiplying this by 2 and then by half. Okay, so this is the first equation. If your element is in a group 2, then the equation is going to be like M plus O2 gives MO, and then you multiply it by half. I just need to determine the moles of oxygen and then make a ratio between them and metal, and then like the story. So I just remember the golden relationship between moles and volumes. 1 mole is equal to 24 cubic decimeter, and since we have 3 cubic centimeters, you have to change them to decimeter by dividing over 1,000. Then it becomes like 0.3, and then the moles of oxygen are equal to 0.0125. Okay, mole. All right, so let's go to make a mole ratio in here. You have 2 to half, okay? How many moles of oxygen you have? You have 0.0125, and here we have X. Then the moles of metal here is equal to 0.05, okay? And now let's do the AR. The AR is equal to 1 over, which is the grams, 1 over the moles, and then your answer is 20, okay? So this is possible answer, and let's go to the second one. The ratio is 1 to half of oxygen. The moles of oxygen are 0.0125. Here we have X, then the moles of metal are equal to 0.025. If we use this relationship, which is AR equals to 1 gram over the moles 0.025, then the answer is 40. And now let's go to the choices. Which of these elements carry 40 or 20? You'll notice that magnesium is 24.3, potassium is 39.9, sodium is 23.0, and calcium is 40.1. And you can deduce something here. The element that we have in group 2 has an AR of 40, and actually it's good for calcium. And the reason why didn't we choose the potassium, because it's in group number 1, and the AR that we got in number 1 is 20, and it's not for potassium. That's why we take this and we exclude this from our calculations, and the answer is calcium.